hope traders and investors alike were green on Friday. Just a heads up, a little warning, we are having some internet issues here on the East Coast with this hurricane leftovers pushing through. Just a lot of rain here. This week we have a lot of Fed speakers that can create some intraday catalysts, which we will be watching. We covered that in the last video. So let's just get to the charts. We'll talk about the market as we're going through the charts. CPC, this is our put to call ratio. You can see we are still in the bearish zone at 112. This is our oscillators for the Nasdaq. We're still at negative 222, not as oversold as we were last week, but still very oversold. Oscillator for the New York Stock Exchange, we're still at a 212. Once again, not as oversold as last week, but still very oversold. Remember, the Nasdaq was in an area that it hasn't been in over 20 years. We talked about that last week. The S&P 500 at a crucial support level, so it's come back down to its weekly 200. So this is kind of a big area. MACD's turning bearish. We need to keep an eye on this. Market is looking very unhealthy. Our advanced decline lines that we talk about daily, I did not add the chart into here, but they have actually turned up. So that's creating a divergence. A lot of times when we see this divergence, we can see a bounce. I don't mean an oversold or like an oversold style bounce. I don't mean like an all new high style bounce. This is our dollar. You can see the MACD here is changing character. Friday we opened below the 9 and we still closed still below that 9. So still remaining below your daily 9 there. So that could be a decent sign for us. VIX here. So we pushed up into a previous resistance level last week and failed, but we were extended outside of the BBs. So now we're back in our Bollinger Bands. We are respecting the 9. There is a decent MACD on this chart, so we definitely need to keep an eye on that. VIX, last week we had this head and shoulders topping pattern, and we pulled back. Pushed up the next day. We talked about this. We had formed a double top here, and Friday, we snatched back. That was Thursday. Friday, we snatched back again on that. Then we recovered, come back, and tested the neckline of that double top. See where we open in the morning. Crude still respecting this downtrend, back below the 9 on the daily. This is our SPY chart. This is our market trend chart. These are custom PPO indicators with my parameters. Long term, medium term, short term. This is the weekly version. I extended it out to show the 2008 to 2009 financial crisis, and we have talked about this before. Back in 2008, 2009, the market had a controlled sell until it got below this 200, struggled to take it back, and then we seen like the trap door effect. That's what we're looking for now. You can see right here, look at the long-term trend of the PPO. It's looking very familiar right now. The controlled selling, the 200, the controlled selling in the 200. So this is something that we definitely do need to keep an eye on. The 200 weekly is a huge area. We've talked about that. Apple Thursday and Friday, massive bearish candles there. MACD has turned bearish. Bearish. Like we have, we had the bearish cross there, but we've been dealing with it. Even got a pinch, been dealing with it. Now it has opened. RSI is overheated. But we're outside of the Bollinger Bands. We could easily see a bounce here just to get back in MBBs or some inside days. AMD, we had a bear flag on this one. So our last video, we discussed bear flags on multiple market leading stocks. And, we broke out of those bear flags to the downside. So this push down should be no surprise to anybody for what we've been seeing Thursday and Friday. Our last video came out Thursday morning, and pre-market should have been Wednesday after hours, but it made it out Thursday. But we showed these bear flags, and we were looking for a move down out of them, and that's exactly what we're getting. AMD, last week we talked about how we closed below the weekly 200, and this week we opened up and traded below the weekly 200. The weekly's outside of the Bollinger Bands there too, so once again I wouldn't be surprised to see a small pop back up just to get back in them Bollinger Bands and then continue to trade down. Affirm, bear flag working there as well. It's not a market leader, but bear flag still working. Now you can see this, we're going to see a lot of this in a lot of these charts. Nice push. We actually took out the 15-minute 200 and then a pullback, large pullback into the end of the day. And like I say, this is Amazon, same setup, push, large pullback into the end of the day. We're going to see a lot of that. I do want to point out something on this Amazon weekly chart. It's a downward sloping, and it's not formed yet. It's not confirmed yet. Don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but this is really starting to look like a shoulder ahead. We could be putting in a shoulder over here, or MACD wants to cross. So this is weeks, possibly into the beginning of next year before this would completely form and then, break out to confirm. So just something to keep an eye on. AMC, you can see the push and then the pullback at the end of the day. Same setup on a lot of these charts. AMD, push, pullback. Amazon, you can see us breaking out of the bear flag. Amazon's a big component of the XLK. Apple and Amazon are the two biggest components that is within the technology sector. So you can see Apple here, it didn't even have as big of a push. It was weak. We had bearish news on it. So we were watching for shorts, for short action Thursday and Friday. But you can see Friday, it was weaker than the market when we tried to push, and then we ended up pulling back. Apple weekly chart, very, very bearish candle last week. MACD starting to cross to the downside. Apple's weekly chart has been a chart that's been holding in much better than the rest of the market. Boeing, this rounded top, still in play, riding this Bollinger Band. I would not be surprised to see a push back up to the top of the pattern before another leg down. It's getting pretty extended there to the downside. Bitcoin's actually holding in pretty well. The weekly, we're still trading within our support / resistance zone there. You can see the daily chart of Bitcoin still holding the support level, still trading in this rounded top here, but we are holding in a lot better than the rest of the market. But our BBs are pinching here. I suspect we do have a move coming. Boeing, you can see the pullback here Thursday and Friday. Charge point. Still trading within this pattern. We need to take this neckline out. So we got this double top off of resistance. We have this support. If we can breach this support level, this becomes our neckline, and that confirms a double top there. Watch that support level for a bounce too, possibly. Crowd, you can see we were trading in this rounded top, and now we formed this bear flag, pushed up. So Friday we pushed up into a major level of resistance and snatched back. We are still at our 9. It's worth keeping an eye on there because we didn't break to the downside yet, but that candle still actually fits inside of that bear flag, so we are still trading in a bear flag there. CVS, we started talking about this chart last Sunday, and we are trading in a descending triangle. We have broken out of a descending triangle, so now we're expecting a move down. That is a bearish continuation pattern. CVX, so CVS and CVX. You can see we do have this gap here, pretty weak. So we pull back. Looks like this could possibly be a high. Looking for a move down. The 9's coming down on it. Anything can happen with all this FUD going on with energy. Definitely needs to be on the radar for intraday trades. CVX, you can see it traded fairly flat the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday. DraftKings, we broke out of this 1, 2, 3 pattern. Bear flagged back up into resistance. 9 coming down, looking for a move to the downside. MACD is pinching bearish again. Dollar Tree trading in this bottom symmetrical triangle have broke out of this to the downside. See what happens when the 9 catches up here. Some of these charts are just getting really extended to the downside. ENPH, this has been an amazing chart showing amazing relative strength. 9's catching up with the price action. We are trading below the 50, so we could see a move down. MACD is very bearish. It's surprisingly, this chart's been able to hold in so well with such a bearish MACD like that. It's called relative strength. ExxonMobil traded fairly flat the last 2 days. You can see we did have a push and a pullback. Kind of traded with the market on Friday. For solar, another chart. This one's actually showing more relative strength. That's just amazing to hold up in this market. So this is your comparison with the S&P 500, just in a steady downtrend, and we're trading in a nice base. So we are under our 9 and 20 moving averages right now. So we're watching for a possible move for a break to the downside. Still watching. I can't be bullish until we get back above that 9 and 20. As long as we remain below that, it's tough because in this market this should be pulling back, and it's definitely not. So I would be careful trying to go short on that one until you get a clear sign. Definitely can't be bullish until you get back above your 9 and 20 pin right at resistance. So we have Gamestop here. This is starting to form a little because you got highs, you got higher, so you pushed up, put in a high, could not put in a higher high, but when we pull back out of this, we actually put in a higher low as well. So then we pushed up for a lower high, and where will this low be printed in? Starting to look like kind of like a symmetrical triangle, but it needs to play out some more. Some indecision going on there. So Google, we had this bear flag here too. We broke to the downside out of that. Google's been weaker than the market, is now below 100. It's kind of what we've been calling for. Home Depot, this is one of them deals that I don't like to be bullish on, and I don't, because of this reason, I do not like to make money because of a hurricane. But usually when hurricanes come through, Home Depot and Lowe's get pops, and so this needs to be on the radar for that. Because people there's a lot of repairs that need to be done in Florida, possibly the Carolinas too, but the footage I've seen from Florida was horrible. I hope not just our members, but, I hope everybody's all right down there. You can see Home Depot on the weekly chart. We're below a major level of resistance there. We need to take that back. The Qs, bear flag, broke to the downside out of this bear flag. Not surprised seeing the bear flag. That's what that's the expected move from a bear flag, is moving to the downside, especially when you have all your market leaders trading in a bear flag. So you're pretty much expecting to move to the downside. Qs, you can see a nice push up right into your 15-minute 200 and rejected. So your 15-minute time frames, or it's worth checking, guys. Make sure you're checking your time frames. Your 15-minute 200, your 15-minute 50 can be a big deal. Qs, weekly, you can see we have closed below the weekly 200 here. So we've taken out a major level of support. See where we open in the morning. MACD's turning bearish. You can see we've taken out those June lows as well. Bonds tried to push Friday, pushed into the 50, or pushed into our daily 9 and then got rejected. IWM is actually trading a little stronger than the SPY and the Qs. We have not took out the June lows in this one yet. IWM daily chart, we are below this major level of resistance. We had one day we pushed up above it on that Wednesday, and they got slammed back below it. So as long as we're under that level, we're bearish. IWM 15-minute chart, very strong push. This push was actually stronger than the SPY and the Qs at the time, and then we had a big sell-off. Lift, this descending triangle here, you can actually get a 1, 2, 3 pattern breaking the neckline, but we took it out, flagged up, trying to trying to let the daily 9 catch up and pulling back here. This is worth starting to keep an eye on. MACD is starting to turn bearish as well. Seeing that mouth spread open. Mara, bear flag. We got a pullback here. We have pushed back up into a major resistance level. We took the 9 back. So right now we're wedged in between two levels. I'm not really interested in this until it gets out of either above or below. But like I say, Bitcoin's holding in well here. I have a feeling that maybe getting ready to change. Meta weekly, ugly there. You know, this is one we were calling for new lows on 2 weeks ago, screaming for new lows, and we got it. And continually putting in new lows daily. Meta, you can see this had a huge push Friday, very strong push and a big sell. But that bullish push was you know, it was there, and it was an opportunity to make money, and then it was an opportunity to make money to the downside. That is a perfect setup for a day trader. You can see MU reported bad earnings, but actually had a decent day Friday compared to the market. Did manage to take this 9 back. The bears did come back in and take their candle back and pull it back down, but it did close above the 9. You can see the bearish volume coming at the end of the day. MACD is trying to change character there as well, trying to give us a bullish cross on the daily, so we need to keep an eye on that one. Microsoft, which is another heavyweight champion of the market, has not been trading so well this year, but a very bearish candle on Friday. Or MACD looked like it was changing character, and I think look at your histogram growing. I think we're getting ready to get a pinch to the downside. Microsoft 15-minute chart, you can see big level of resistance right here and pull back. Microsoft weekly, last week we were below this major level. This week we come back and retested the major level, riding that Bollinger Band on down. Weekly MACD's crossing. Moderna, we had this diamond bottom, broke to the downside, bear flag, pull back out of that. We're just so oversold on this. I can't, we got to be intraday trading everything right now until we get like a reset. MRO, we do have this gap up here, but it just seems like we just put in a lower high, and 9's catching up. Looks like it wants to see more downside. Watch that support level. The NASDAQ, same setup, as the rest of the market, pulling back. MACD's ugly there. Netflix has been showing a lot of strength in this market, trading in this very tight channel. I can see a big move coming out of Netflix. It's been ranging in here, putting in a nice base, showing relative strength versus when everything else in the market's going down. This has been holding in this well. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. Trading ranges are tight. Now, like this day right here, we had this on our radar, actually covered it in the morning video for the Discord, and got a nice move out of that. Got like a $10 move out of it that day, and we had it on our radar due to some upgrades and a few other things that come out. Nvidia just been very weak. You can see Friday we did push up, test a 9, and pull back. Been very, very weak. It's one of my best calls this year. But you can see this oversold bounce. Nvidia was on fire at open, but then had a big sell. I will say it did not take the morning low out. The morning and pre-market lows, it did hold in better than a lot of other charts. A lot of other charts, including the market, was able to take out the previous low of the day, and put in a new low of the day. Actually, you can see we posted some news on this last week about Buffett buying more. You can see it pull back at open and then push right up into your 15-minute 50. Oxy daily, looking a little better than some of the other energy charts. Looks like this gap's been filled on this one. Back above your 9 on your daily, because Uncle Warren's coming in buying. Palantir, we did confirm this double bottom in this market. I do not know how much of a move we're going to get out of this, but we did confirm over this neckline, and then we also held it on the second day. If this does push, have to watch that daily 50. That is a big level coming up. Remember, those moving averages are like moving targets, like your target practicing using moving targets. Palantir, big push on the the 15-minute and then pull back. But once again, this is another one that did not put in a new low of the day. Peloton, they're getting some deals going on with Dick's. We did lose this major support level, and we have put in a new low. I do believe this is a new all-time low. Definitely a new 52-week low, but I think that's a new all-time low there. I'm almost positive of that. Plug, you can see we had this pattern. I was late to it, but you basically got 1, 2, 3. So basically you got the 1, 2, 3 reversal there, and to the downside, bear flag, pulling back lower. MACD's bearish. Watch that level of support. If we continue down on this one, watch this level of support right here. You can take that rate off of your symmetrical or ascending triangle that we put in down here. Ryvan, we had this cup. We were hoping to see a handle. Didn't have it. This actually, so we're going to look at the cup as being a double top now. To confirm this double top, we need to take out the neckline, which would be the bottom right here would be our neckline. We did have a hammer last week, which we were able to push up into our 50 and our 20. We got rejected there. This actually formed a bear flag coming off this hammer. Was unable to take out the major levels. A big down candle. So, but this is our neckline. We have to take that neckline out to confirm the double top here. I actually like this setup because I like it when the 9 breaches below that level with it on all time frames. We're not lucky enough to get that on a daily often. Roblox, we bear flagged right up into a major resistance level. Took it back, but we lost it the next day. Respecting the 9 to, see if we can respect the 9, see some more downside there. S&P 500 daily, it's just ugly. I mean, that's just ugly. Look at the bearish volume. We had good volume coming into the market on Friday. Unfortunately, it was selling pressure. Let's not forget that the MOC was over 6 billion to the sell side on Friday as well. Let's also not forget that we will see inflows tomorrow morning. First of the month, we will see inflows coming in. A CRM, this is a choppy ride. I want to check the ATR on this bad boy because, the spread's really, really, really terrible in this stock. But you can definitely make some money as choppy as that chart is. It's a fast mover, pretty sure. Haven't traded in a long time. Snow, you got this double top here we've been watching. This daily 50 here is acting as support. We've actually already took the trend line out. There's also the rest of this gap here. So if we can lose this trend line, I would look for a move down. But that's holding as support very well. That's the neckline holding as support. SoFi, big push right into your 15-minute 200. I hope just in this video alone, there's been enough examples at that 15-minute 200, and even your 15-minute 50 is worth watching. But that should be enough examples right there to make you want to start checking these time frames so you know what's coming up ahead of you. SoFi, we lost this support level here, is now resistance. SOXS, this this cup here, cup and handle pattern has broken out. We've gotten over a 26% move. Just if you would have bought shares with that, you would have gotten over 26%. Just buying shares when we set this chart out, and this is not the only inverse ETF that we've been watching. You got your diamond, your Dow Jones still breaking to the downside. Very bearish MACD there. SPY, we took out the June lows here on the weekly. Watching this weekly 200, there is a level coming up in here. We'll talk about in the Discord. SPY monthly, we have closed. So we're expecting a new monthly candle. Look how bearish this candle is underneath that monthly 9. SPY daily bear flagging, breaking to the downside. SPY. This is the 15-minute chart. This is one of the patterns that we were looking at Friday when we broke to the downside on this symmetrical triangle. This is the trend chart for the daily. This is the one we've been watching for our daily moves. Long-term trends bearish, medium-term trends bearish. The short-term trend is also bearish. Square, bear flag, breaking to the downside. Tesla, this is looking pretty rough in here. You've got a lot of areas here that's been tested, unable to take any of this back. If we lose this support level on the weekly, we could see a move down on Tesla. You can see right here, we kind of got a triple top going on. So this would be the neckline. This has actually been confirmed, bearish MACD. So if the market tries to pull back, we will be watching Tesla for some short activity. Puts, watching Tesla for some puts. I don't short shares. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not for me. I don't like to risk my account like that, but I will use put options. Twitter, testing key resistance here. Last time we were here, we failed, so let's keep an eye on this. News can come out. That can be a wild ride. Uber here. Uber still has this gap to the downside. So we confirmed we had this inverted cup and handle. We broke to the upside, breaking to the upside there. We formed a double top. That confirmed when we broke below, bear flag back into it, pull back. If we do continue to pull back, let's watch this gap for a gap fill. That gap can act as resistance, support until we get into it. The other side will act as support as well. A lot of times you test, you close the gap, and you immediately get a rejection at the close of the gap, and then come back and then push through it. UNG, kind of wild there. Pre-market pushing up, pull back at open, push back up, and then pull back. So that was a wild ride on Friday. So we had this head and shoulders on UNG. If you're paying attention, you made money there. So we were outside the Bollinger Bands. We're trading in a tight range here. We have this daily 9 coming down. Upstart, we had this descending triangle. We broke out of that to the downside, respecting the 9 down. Upstart, big push on Friday. Actually took out that daily 200, pushed up, but it give you can see it right there. You can see the evening star with large, strong candles as well. So you can see the move down. A UVXY, we got this. I want to call it ascending triangle, but because you got this series of higher highs pushing up, this candle takes, that kind of ruins it, and these candles kind of ruin it. But either way, we had this move up to the upside. We were watching this, and this made as high as about 24%. I'm a little high on the line there, but if you would have bought that from the breach of that pattern to where we have traded now, would have been about a 24% win. Wells Fargo, pretty weak. You can see we did push, not as strong as a lot of these other charts we just looked at on Friday, and pull back. Banks are pretty weak right now. XLF ranging here, waiting on this 9 to catch up. Looks like it wants more downside. ExxonMobil, nice push up into the 9. We have lost this support, still have a gap here. Definitely stronger than some of the other stocks we have looked at, but we have lost this major support level here. So see if we can get a move down. Crude, it's hard to judge it like that. Crude can go one way or the other. All right, AMC, we've been watching this head and shoulders pattern. This is a downward sloping head and shoulders pattern. We had this big down candle, and we've been trading in this tight range ever since. So let's kind of see, let this 9 catch up, kind of see if we can break down, get some more downside. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see this go to the moon. I know there's a lot of people holding it, and so it's nothing political. I just trade what I see. I'm not a holder, but I know there's a lot of people with a lot of dreams holding this, and I hope everybody's dreams comes true. I've never once been against AMC. I've just been trying to explain how the market works to people. And I would love to see it go to the moon because I want to be riding calls right there with everybody. But as for right now, we are still looking bearish. Well, that concludes our video for today. I'll see everybody in the trading room.